I am trying to hold my anger here. I wasn't even going to do this. Like, a part of me was going to do it immediately, and I was like, no, I have to hold off because the last time I did this, I was up to like 6:30 in the fucking morning doing this, but now I have to. Thank you, Asmongold, for just completely fucking angering me here. So I'm catching like bits and pieces of the state of play for Final Fantasy VII, which, I know the co host really wants to do. He's waiting in anticipation for me to just get off my fat ass to finally do it with him. Yeah, I know he's just waiting desperately for me to just, finally watch this state of play for him. He really wants Rebirth. I've just been, putting it off here. Because I'm not a mega fan. He's the mega fan. I know his lady bought him remake. He had such an amazing time with it. He's been counting down the days for Rebirth. Oh man. Oh, he can't. He wants to embody Cloud so fucking much. I think I even heard him say he's gonna like make himself blonde and give himself spiky hair. He's gonna get some hair growth formula and get a spiky hairdo a la Cloud. But jokes and insults aside, I got a little riled up though about the whole Vincent shit. Like anytime I now see Vincent in like a cinematic from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I'm just gonna fucking hate myself because, like, this is my story with Final Fantasy VII. Like the whole like ensemble, right? Because I think Final Fantasy VII probably has like the most in terms of content. Because Final Fantasy VII is what made Square Enix today, and it shows why the fuck they're milking it. Like, I literally just heard the fucking blurb from the state of play from, like, Asmon, reacting to it. It's gonna fall after they leave Midgard, up to when they reach, like, I guess the fucking Citra, wherever the fuck the goddamn species is, like, their fucking temple. So I was like, okay, I was right. I was fucking right. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Like, anybody with common sense could, like, predict what the pacing was gonna be. Like, remake ended after they left Midgard. So I can't even fucking remember the fucking name of the town. It ends there. Like, okay, you can deduce the second game is gonna take place when they leave Midgard and up to maybe where the temple is. Where maybe it'll end on that noteworthy, genre defining, most impactful scene in gaming history. They'll end it there, right? Even though we're probably gonna like we're like at the end of the first game they defied destiny, so to speak. So you can like one or two things is gonna happen, obviously, and like that's where they'll end it. That's where they'll tease us. That's where they'll cock block us with the second game. And then we gotta wait for the third one, where it's gonna pick up after the temple. And where we'll finally get the ending of the Final Fantasy Saga trilogy. The Final Fantasy VII Saga trilogy. But it's like, the thing that just really pisses me off is Vincent. Because it's like, I recall from the PS1 game that, after you go through that hard as nails mansion segment, because I remember having a fucking complication with that, fighting the monster in that fucking mansion, but I was determined because I wanted my boy Vincent. After you get him from that, he joins you in the party. You can have him in the team where he pulls out that 45 handgun and pops a few slugs in some motherfuckers. Badass motherfucker. Before he got the Cerberus handgun, he was rocking a fucking Colt 45 like a true G. I remember at one of those points where you finally get the submarine, you can go to a cave where his longtime crush Lucrezia is. If I got the name right, if I didn't, then forgive me. Again, it's been a minute. It's been a fucking minute. But I remember him, going to the cave, and if I'm right, you had to do like some sort of stupid bullshit. Like you had to go in and out of the cave like 10 fucking times or something. I don't remember. But you had to do shit like that, and you had to like do a couple random ass missions or go through like 10 combat scenarios, right? Like just run to 10 different random enemies and kill them. And then you go back and you unlock Vincent's signature, the death penalty. The best fucking gun in the game. The best weapon in the game. The reason I say that is I remember the death penalty being special in the fact that, you could break it by killing more and more people. It raises its power to the point where it becomes a one-shot kill weapon. I shit you not, Vincent can solo Sephiroth with one fucking shot, but it requires you to kill like thousands of enemies or some shit to make it overflow. I think the death penalty, and I think Barrett's gun, his legendary, his ultimate weapon, can also do something similar. Don't quote me on that. I know it's only like 2 weapons have the ability to do that. But yeah, Vincent, wannabe vampire, my favorite character, because the reason why I love him so much is Dirge of Cerberus is what got me, technically speaking, into Final Fantasy. Yes, a spin-off game got me into Final Fantasy, all for its third-person combat, shooting, which at this point I am literally just gonna wait for a Dirge of Cerberus remake. It's gonna happen. It has to fucking happen. They want to remake these games. I think they literally did a remaster / remake of Crisis Core. I think. Let me take a fucking gander. Crisis Core, yeah. Crisis Core, Final Fantasy Reunion, the game about Sack. It was like a fucking prequel. At least this one looks a lot fucking better. If I recall correctly, this one actually runs flawlessly. I think people gave this like better reviews, I think, in my opinion. Let me actually look. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Let me see what engine that's on. Crisis Core. No, fuck off. Just give me the Wikipedia page. Give me the Wikipedia page. Okay, yeah. Forgive me, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. Okay, so Unreal Engine 4 for that remake. Okay, so still Unreal Engine 4. It just, from what I can remember, like, I remember people saying that like, at least, like, Reunion ran a whole lot better. Maybe it was them, getting, like, more acclimated with the engine. But as far as I'm concerned, like, I've heard, like, at least Crisis Core was a little bit better. I don't know. I guess I'll have to fucking figure it out. I mean, it is on sale. Like, they sold this for even $50 as opposed to, like, $70. Oh, Deluxe Edition. There we go. That's where they fucking get you. The Deluxe Edition. What does that come with? Soundtrack and art booklet. I don't care. But yeah, Dirge of Cerberus got me into Final Fantasy VII. I remember just going through that game. Like, I remember it vividly, right? I remember many moons ago where I lived, there was like a huge snowstorm and like school was out for a fucking week. Like, just imagine being a little kid and having like almost 9 whole days to yourself. It felt a little long, but at the same time, it was just such a beautiful. I remember like waking up every morning, going, "Ooh, am I gonna have a day off? Am I gonna have a day off?" And I know my mother was like a little bit annoyed, like after like the 4th day. She was probably just like, "It's still 6 feet of snow. You're off. Go and play video games." like, like, come on, even the little guy in me was a little bit skeptical. He was still praying just to see, like, the school's closed, Like, oh, it was such a great time. But yeah, I remember at some point Mr. J, like I don't know how I discovered the game. Maybe I just saw it out of the blue. Like I saw like the cover art for like the PS. It looked badass, right? It looked edgy as fuck, but it looked good at the same time. And I just remember like seeing like, oh, it looks pretty cool. It'd be nice to borrow it. And just out of the blue, Mr. J let me borrow the game. He came down like just trucking through the fucking snow, and he just let me borrow it, and I got to play on like an old CRT television on the PS2 Slim, and I just got to start playing like Dirge of Cerberus, and I was a little bit stupid back then. I didn't like I believe I did not get the ultimate weapon. I didn't realize like the toy gun was like integral to like getting the ultimate weapon for Vincent. So I think I actually played through the whole game, which is like the default Cerberus. But I loved the game and how it controlled the third person action, the different guns that you can get between the pistol, the submachine gun, and the sniper rifle. Trying to customize them for like different barrels and like different like variants of those guns that had like different stat like allotments, like allocations, the accessories, going for all these areas and shooting all these fucking like whoever the fuck these soldiers were. I forgot what they were exactly. Just all of it. It felt really good. And the thing was that I basically went in it blind. I didn't know anything about the characters. I didn't know anything about Tifa or Yuffie or Cloud, Barrett. None of them. I knew nothing. I basically went into the Final Fantasy franchise blind with no knowledge. Like, I didn't even, like, this is how oblivious I was to, like, the Final Fantasy series. At that point, I didn't know anything about Aerith and that scene. And I'm just gonna fucking spoil it because everyone knows what that scene is. Aerith dies. She dies to Sephiroth. The classic Sephiroth coming in from the background with his big fuck off sort of. He's obviously using to compensate for something, and he just fucking impales her in the back, like in the fucking back while she's praying, like, oh, I really hope I get to see the ending with you guys. Just gets impaled in the back. Fatality. Obviously, that's probably going to change for Rebirth. I can already see, like, that's why a part of me wants to buy it. Just so I could see if they really fucking change the ending. Because I'm still a firm believer, and I bet you can even ask the co-host as well. Like, he's probably a firm believer that she has to die to carry the story over. As much as I'm going to hate saying this, she is the Phil Coulson of Final Fantasy VII. When you think about it as a whole, she is the Phil Coulson. Like, without her death, she doesn't force this, like, merry band of fucking random ass motherfuckers to go and take on Sephiroth. She is Phil Coulson. Aerith is Phil Coulson. She has to die. Now, of course, sadly, with how Remake was handled and how that shit played out, unfortunately, like, yeah, she doesn't really need to die to push it home that, they gotta take on Sephiroth. They kind of introduce a whole new reasoning as to why they gotta take on Sephiroth, I guess, because, they basically discover early on that he plans on destroying the world. Like, I think that was kind of a thing in the background, but they didn't really, like, push it too far. It wasn't until Aerith really dies that everybody kind of goes, oh, we are getting fucking payback for this. It's like, a part of me really does want her to die. Even though I literally just saw like one of the fucking stills from the trailer from the State of Play where she's in that fucking like white dress and her hair is down. She gives off goddess vibes. Like, it's very rare for me to call like a video game character a goddess. Like, Aerith is getting really fucking close to me calling her goddess Aerith. I swear to fucking God. Even though her name was like literally based off of like Ares or something. I don't fucking know. But anyway. No, her original name was supposed to be Eris. No, never mind. Sounds really close to Ares though. Fuck. Anyway. She has to die. And yeah, it's just like, sorry, back to Vincent. My mind's mush right now. I'm a little bit fucking annoyed with this game here. It's not even out yet. That's why I kind of want to, buy it for the co-host so he can just, enjoy it. But yeah, it's like all this shit with Vincent, right? And, I was, upset with the news like a couple days ago. There was an article posted by IGN where they basically said, oh, yeah, by the way, besides the fact that Vincent won't be a playable, I can't take control of him in the space, right? Like, I can't basically have discount Barrett here, Vincent with a 45 shoot some fuckers in the face. I can't have that dream. I was like, okay, he's going to be relegated to, X13. No, I did dirty. Basically, from what I've read, Vincent doesn't even show up in combat scenarios. At least the co-host had, a little bit of mercy. You couldn't play as him in Remake, but he at least tagged along for a couple of combat scenarios, so at least you got to see a little bit of animation. I guess, it's too hard for these motherfuckers to program a simple animation of Vincent pulling a fucking 45 out of his holster, wherever the fuck he keeps his gun holstered, and pull off a few shots on an enemy and put it back or some shit. You can't fucking do that. So, as a result, they gotta rip him out of the combat encounters. He's not in any of them. He just shows up during, some cinematics. I literally feel whoever's, heading this fucking development, it can't even be the developers. And if it is, I don't know why. I can just feel them literally spitting in my face when I bring up, the hope, the dream of, ooh, maybe I can play a little bit of Vincent. Maybe I can at least see him, pull out a gun, shoot a couple motherfuckers. He'll be some aid, right, guys? No, you fucking cuck. No, we're gonna fucking hold him off until the third game. Vincent's the only guy that I care about. Maybe it's because, his moody, edgy, fucking, edgelord vibe. The fucking, who's that guy? Shadow from fucking Sonic, I think. I think, that vibe from, the fucking early to mid 2000s with the edgy characters. Vincent's top tier. There's something about it. He gives off like fucking edgier Alucard vibes, I guess. Just seeing the one still from him in the fucking cutscene, he literally gives off Alucard vibes. If he was more depressed, I guess. But even then, it's just Vincent's my man. Fuck Cloud. Fuck Tifa. Fuck Aerith for that matter as well, especially if she lives. Fuck Sephiroth, fuck Sid, fuck Zack, especially Zack. Why the fuck are we seeing Zack in these fucking trailers, man? That's something I gotta talk about with the co-host. But, fuck all of y'all. All I care about is my man Vincent. That's all I fucking want. I want my wannabe fucking vampire with a 45. Please and fucking thank you. At this point, I want to make a commitment to myself. I haven't bought Remake. I played it on the PS4 when the co-host was over here for, a little bit. Miss those days, by the way, man. And he, when he finished the fucking game, and he was done coming up in my room to fucking bitch about shit, he was just hey, man, you gotta play this game because we gotta talk about this when you're done with it. I didn't buy it then. A part of me doesn't even want to buy Rebirth. I want to buy it just so the co-host can play it and give me his honest opinions about it and fucking bitch about it with me. And I don't even have a PS5, but maybe I'll treat myself. Maybe I'll buy myself a PS5 just so I can play it. Even though would I really want to play, like what I really want my first PS5 game to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We all have those first games, right? Like I know at the PS3 the first game was Infamous, and for the PS4 the first game was Infamous Second Son. Like obviously there's no Infamous game, sadly. Sucker Punch. Where? Please give me a new Infamous, please, please. Like what should my new like? I've been saying to myself like the first new game that I should play for the PS5 should be GTA 6, but like with like Death Stranding 2 being released in 2025, like the most logical step should be the first game I should play on the PS5 should be Death Stranding 2. So maybe I should do that, but it's just like a part of me doesn't want to spend any money on a Final Fantasy VII-esque product until they remake Dirge of Cerberus. That's what I want above all else. I want them to remake Dirge of Cerberus. Like maybe I'll make a concession, right? Is that the fucking term? Let me make sure I'm getting my vocabulary right. Concession. Okay, yeah, a thing conceded. Okay. Maybe I'll make a concession, right? I'll buy Crisis Core Reunion. Since that's like one game out of like the whole series I'm not familiar with. Like, I'm obviously familiar with the original game. I'm familiar with like parts of Remake. Thankfully, I'm forgetting them as we speak. And I'm familiar with Dirge of Cerberus. I'm even familiar with Advent Children. I watched the movie after I beat the original game, right? I think it was leading up to like Final Fantasy 15 coming to PC. The only like Final Fantasy game I was like semi okay buying before they fucking spit in my face, canceling mod support. Those fucks. Those fucking assholes. But the only game that I'm not familiar with is the beginning. Crisis Core. I know nothing of it. Part of me wants to try and like find the video of someone doing a review on it. As a matter of fact, sorry Asmin, give me a minute here. CRISIS Core. Let's see. Did someone do a fucking... Okay, maybe not. I'll have to do some research. I mean, again, like I don't know much about Crisis Core, especially the remake. Cause I'm more concerned about the remake because I could have sworn like maybe the remake would have been like worse. Like, let's just look at some of the Steam reviews. Let's look at some of those Steam reviews. Maybe it'll be better. I can only imagine what the Gone Gaga is. I can only imagine. But yeah, it's just like. All I want is Vincent Valentine to just finally get his debut in this fucking remade Final Fantasy VII lore. And I'm being cock blocked. I am being cucked right now. That is literally it. I'm being cucked. All I want is Vincent. And this is like the next thing. Like, they're doing worse than like what Red 13 was. Oh yeah, you want Vincent? Oh, you can go fuck yourself. He's just gonna be a fucking like a side character just pops up randomly in cutscenes. Like, what's even the point of reintroducing him then? Seriously, what is the fucking point of reintroducing him? I think the same thing is happening with Sid too. And it's like, I think the reason being is that, we don't want to give you like all that much content. We want to leave something for the third game. And it's like, suck a fucking cock. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, maybe if you would have like let me actually play as him and upgrade him and use him in combat for the fucking rebirth, maybe I would have gone out of my way to actually play it. Oh, that's right. I only have to wait like 3 more months for the PC version. That's right. I forgot. I can actually just buy it on PC. I don't have to worry about playing on fucking on PlayStation 5. Never mind. Maybe I can fucking, because if I'm right, like the exclusivity is only for a few months, so maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I can just fucking play it on fucking PC, even though I can only imagine what my CPU will go through with that. But thankfully, we have ways of circumventing that. In terms of purchasing it. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Co-host might need some help in a few months. But I'm just like, oh man, like, I'm just cucked. I just want my Vincent Valentine. I want my. I want my Vincent Valentine.